You know, you have a self criticism problem when you have been through cancer and betrayal at the same time, and while literally trying to recover both mentally and physically, you still manage to beat yourself up for not uploading a YouTube video on time. Self criticism. What a fun topic, right? So, of course, I have to talk about it. Hi, friends, this is Ellie, and in this channel, I talk about starting your life after 40, all the challenges that comes with it, all the ups and downs, in the hopes that it might be inspiring or helpful to someone else. So yeah, I want to talk about self-criticism, that inner voice, that meanie, that harsh commenter in all of us that can be really criticizing to whatever we do. And it is regardless of what you have accomplished and what you have done. So that day you might have done all the things right, like you woke up, you brush your teeth, you made your bed, you prepared stuff, you worked hard, but you just didn't do that one thing, and your inner self-critic will be able to comment on that harshly and ignoring all of the things you did right, just focusing on that one thing you didn't do or you didn't do good enough. And the story also like builds up to it, right? So in my case it might be that this YouTube video thing, but in your case it might be something like, well, maybe you are not a good enough parent because you were 5 minutes late to pick up your kid, or you are not smart enough or working hard enough because you didn't get that promotion. Maybe you are not doing your best for eating healthy or working out. Like, your self critic can be talking about anything and everything. And the story also becomes not just about the thing you haven't done, it also becomes like it gets twisted into something bigger. So, in my case, not being able to do a YouTube video on time, that kind of becomes like, hey, do you even have motivation for this? Do you even have the qualification? Maybe you are not good enough to do this kind of videos. And it just became something bigger than what actually happened in the past couple of weeks. So that inner voice, we can't really turn it off, right? So what are we gonna do about it? Like, how to deal with that stuff? And I also wanted to talk about that part, not just acknowledging that we all have this kind of self-criticism, but also talk about what we can do about it. Well, at least what I'm trying to do about it. And well, as for almost everything, if you want to change something in yourself, you have to start by observing yourself. You have to like raise your awareness of what you are doing when you are doing it. So you have to catch yourself in the act when this self-critic voice, when this inner voice is talking out. And just do a small acknowledgement there. Just the fact that, there you are, there she is criticizing again. And that small acknowledgement, it actually weakens the power of that criticism. It may look like a small thing, but that's how self observation and like naming it, realizing who is actually talking at that moment, it actually helps you process that. And once you realize that, once you have catch yourself doing or listening to that self critic, well, talk back to it. Like, I'm not saying argue back, but something more like, okay, okay, I hear you. I hear you. I hear the criticism, but I don't need this right now. So I'm going to divert my attention and energy to something else. So that's another thing you can do. Like, this is what I mean by talking back. So, not go into an arguing or trying to make excuses about that, but just like, okay, I hear you, but move on. Another thing I very much like is to put it in perspective, like changing that perspective. Because, for example, again, using the example I gave in this video, I would have never criticized a friend of mine if she has went through cancer and betrayal and like still, struggling, still trying to build something better for herself, like not uploading a YouTube video every week. Like, it wouldn't even cross my mind. I would just be like proud of her survival, proud of her accomplishments. I would just be cheering her up. I wouldn't be like saying this mean, harsh things to her. So, like, why would I say that to myself then? Like, if I'm not saying this to a friend, I wouldn't even say this to a stranger. So, if you think about it, you can see the ridiculousness of it, right? Like, this is just so stupid. Like, why would you say that to yourself then? So I think that's a important angle to remember to switch this perspective. Hey, you wouldn't talk like that. You wouldn't say that to a friend of yours, so don't say it to yourself. And I think another thing that is important or relevant is to maybe try to understand where that criticism is coming from, right? Because it's probably trying to protect you from something. It's probably trying to the method might be wrong, but it's probably trying to push you to do that thing so it protects you from, let's say, failure or some some other thing. So even though that intent is there, again, you can still put it down or reply it something along the lines like, okay, I get the protection intent, I understand, I hear you, self critic, but again, I don't need this right now. What I need is encouragement. What I need is kindness. So I'm just gonna move and divert my energy, my attention from listening to you. So it's basically also like giving yourself permission to be human, right? Because this is going to happen again. This is not a one time thing. So you need to kind of repeat this process, if only if it is that easy to just like, oh, you realize, oh, I'm self-criticizing myself again, I'll just stop. Like, yeah, if you can do that, great, I'm really happy for you. Please give us some tips. But otherwise, for the rest of the mortals like us, we just need to keep at it. Of course, it's easier said than done, I know it firsthand, but that's that's what it is actually. Like, that's why i'm I might be knowing all of this logically, I'm even articulating it like this for someone else, but it's not easy to apply it every time for myself. But I'm still keeping at it because what is important is that I have the intent to change for the better. I have the intent that, hey, I don't want to hear this harsh self critic voice for the rest of my life because it's not making my life better. I want to approach myself from a place of self acceptance, self love, self kindness, and I want to reduce this harsh self criticism. And since I have that intent, then I can pay attention to, I can give some energy and do something about changing this better for myself in the future. Well, at least attempt to it, because that's how you make the change, right? One step at a time. Even though I may not be successful each time or each attempt, it will still accumulate something if I keep at it. So yeah, that was it for today's topic. I hope you guys liked it, and I would love to hear what's your perspective on it, what's your take on it. And it really helps me and motivates me when you guys like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So it might be a really small thing for you, but like it's a really, well, it's a really nice thing for me. It's a really motivating thing for me. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.